South Korea is one of the most modern countries in the world. It exports music, dramas, fashion, beauty, and technology to millions of fans across the globe. But for Muslims living there, life is not always as simple as the beautiful videos make it look. How do Muslims pray in Seoul's busy work culture? How do they find halal food in a country famous for barbecue, street food, and convenience stores? And what happens when your faith is something most people around you have never really seen before? This is Muslim life in South Korea. Muslims are a small minority in South Korea. Most people in the country are not Muslim, and Islam is still unfamiliar to many Koreans. But Muslim life does exist here. Some Muslims are foreign workers. Some are international students. Some are business owners. Some are tourists. And some are Korean converts who chose Islam after learning about the faith through friends, study, travel, or personal reflection. Many Muslims in South Korea come from countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Turkey, and the Middle East. Their backgrounds are different, but they share the same question. How do you live as a Muslim in a place where Islam is still not part of everyday public life? For many Muslims in South Korea, one of the most important places is Itaewon in Seoul. Itaewon is known for international restaurants, foreign communities, and cultural diversity. It is also home to Seoul Central Mosque, one of the most important Islamic landmarks in the country. Around this area, Muslims can find halal restaurants, halal meat shops, Islamic books, and community spaces. For Muslims living in Seoul, the mosque is more than a building. It is a place to pray, meet other Muslims, ask questions, find support, and feel less alone. On Fridays, Muslims from many countries gather for Jummah prayer. You may find students, workers, business owners, tourists, Korean Muslims, and families all standing together in one place. Different languages, different cultures, different nationalities, but one prayer. This is what makes Muslim life in South Korea special. The community may be small, but inside the mosque it becomes strong. For many people, the mosque is the only place in the week where they do not feel different. Food is one of the biggest challenges for Muslims in South Korea. Korean food is famous around the world. Barbecue, fried chicken, ramen, street snacks, soups, rice dishes, and spicy sauces. But for Muslims, not every dish is easy to eat. Pork is common in Korean food. Alcohol can appear in sauces, marinades, or cooking ingredients, and meat may not always be halal. This means Muslims often have to ask questions, check ingredients, search online, or travel to specific halal restaurants. In big cities like Seoul and Busan, halal food is easier to find than before. There are Turkish restaurants, Pakistani and Indian restaurants, Indonesian food spots, Middle Eastern restaurants, and some Korean restaurants offering Muslim-friendly dishes. But outside major cities, it can be much harder. Some Muslims rely on seafood, some choose vegetarian options, some cook at home, some bring food from halal stores, and some avoid eating out unless they are completely sure. For Muslim travelers, this can be stressful. For Muslim residents, it becomes part of daily life. Prayer is another quiet challenge. In Muslim-majority countries, mosques and prayer spaces are part of daily life. But in South Korea, Muslims may have to plan carefully. At university, a student may look for an empty room. At work, someone may wait for a break. In public, a traveler may search for a prayer room at an airport, mall, or tourist area. Some places are becoming more Muslim-friendly, especially because of tourism. But prayer rooms are still not available everywhere. For Muslims, Salah is not just a ritual. It is a daily connection with Allah. So even in a busy country like South Korea, they find ways to protect it. Ramadan in South Korea feels very different from Ramadan in Muslim countries. There is no public adhan filling the streets, no large Ramadan markets everywhere, no whole city changing its rhythm. Most people around you may be eating, drinking coffee, going to class, or working as usual. But inside Muslim homes, apartments, restaurants, and mosques, Ramadan comes alive. Students break fast together, friends gather for iftar, mosques organize meals, families call relatives back home. It may be quiet, but for many Muslims in Korea, Ramadan becomes even more personal. For Muslim women who wear hijab, life in South Korea can be peaceful, but also complicated. Many Koreans are polite and respectful, but because Islam is not very common, hijab can attract curiosity. Some people stare, some ask questions, some misunderstand what it means. For a Muslim woman, hijab is an act of faith. But in a society where most people are not used to seeing it, it can also make her feel visible everywhere she goes. Still, many Muslim women in Korea study, work, travel, and build confident lives while holding on to their identity. One of the most interesting parts of Muslim life in South Korea is Korean converts to Islam. Some Koreans discover Islam through Muslim friends. Some learn through travel. Some become curious through books, online videos, or personal questions about life and faith. For Korean Muslims, the journey can be emotional. They may have to explain their new faith to family, friends, classmates, or co-workers. Choosing Islam in a country where it is still unfamiliar takes courage. It is not only a religious decision, it can become a new identity. Daily life can sometimes feel lonely. A Muslim student may be the only Muslim in the classroom. A worker may be the only Muslim at the company. A convert may be the only Muslim in the family. This does not always mean people are hostile. Often the challenge is simply that people do not understand. Why do you pray 5 times a day? Why do you fast? Why do you not eat pork? Why do you not drink alcohol? Why do you wear hijab? These questions can become tiring, but they also create moments of learning. For many Muslims in South Korea, patience becomes part of faith. South Korea is slowly becoming more Muslim-friendly. Because of tourism, international students, and global connections, more people are learning about halal food, prayer spaces, and Muslim needs. Muslim-friendly restaurants, halal guides, and prayer spaces are easier to find than before, especially in Seoul and major tourist areas. The community is still small, but it is more visible than it used to be, and for many Muslims, that gives hope. So, what is it really like to be Muslim in South Korea? It is peaceful, but not always easy. It is modern, but not always familiar. It is full of beauty, but also full of small daily challenges. Muslims in South Korea search for halal food, protect their prayers, gather in mosques, observe Ramadan quietly, and build community in a country where Islam is still growing in awareness. Their story is not loud, but it is real. This is the hidden Muslim community of South Korea. Subscribe to Muslim Life Abroad for more stories about how Muslims live, worship, eat, and build community around the world. And tell us in the comments, which country should we explore next?